Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Niagara Falls. I'm Chuck Lofton, and all week we've been here doing our Chuck's Big Adventure, and it is so good to get to talk to you live this morning on Facebook. Let me give you an idea of where we're at. We're actually in southern Ontario in Canada. You are looking at the bottom of your screen is one of the great boats. Of course, the most famous is the Maid of the Mist that we have been traveled on actually a couple times. We're going to do it again tomorrow, and that is the Maid of the Mist, going past the American Falls. Now there are, if you didn't know it, and I don't think I knew this prior to this trip, there are three big waterfalls that make up the Niagara Falls area. There's the American Falls, which is what you're looking at now. 675,000 gallons of water come down there each second. And then just to the right of that is the Bridal Veil Falls. And then, of course, the big enchilada right over there is the Horseshoe Falls, which is probably the most famous of the Niagara Falls. Well, here's what I want to do. We're coming to you, of course, live from Niagara Falls in Ontario. Now, because of the unique situation between Meta, which is Facebook, and the Canadian government, we can't see your questions here. However, what I would love for you to do is to give a shout out, ask a question, and we have staff that is monitoring that, and they will tell me what your questions are. But we want to hear from you and where you're at. Let me give you kind of a rundown of our trip. We began really last Sunday. We've got 2 more days here. I will be back on sunrise Monday morning and can't wait to share with Jalea and Julia all of the wonderful stories that we have. But I got to tell you, it has been an exciting time. When we first got here, we kind of took the lay of the land, and we had several stories shape up. We were on the Maid of the Mist, and we've got a great story coming to you there. But as you look at the American Falls here, right underneath us, and I know it's going to be difficult to see, we'll try to grab it, Megan is manning our camera, is a zip line that goes from really just to the south of the American Falls to this area between Bridal Veil Falls and then Horseshoe Falls. They've got a little bit of everything here, run by the Niagara Parks Corporation, which is a not-for-profit which occupies 56 miles along shoreline here. And yeah, they contract out for these wonderful boats and all the attractions that you see here. But we started here Sunday, and we knew, because we've done our research, that there's so much more here besides Niagara Falls than the water. And certainly there is. Did you know, folks, that the first carousel ever made in the United States or in North America was made in New York, and just south of Niagara Falls over here? So we went to this beautiful carousel museum, and we're going to share those moments with you a little bit later on today. In fact, actually, that's going to be my favorite piece of all, because it will bring back so many memories for many of you. And Indiana has been dramatically affected by that. Those carousels are called the Herschel carousels. So those beautiful carousels that you've seen at the Indiana State Museum, at, Indiana Beach and Holiday World. Those are all part of it. Okay, we've got some questions coming in. Megan, what's up?
What's been the most surprising thing you've found so far to do?
What has been the most surprising thing that we have found? Well, I'll break that up into 2 questions. The fact that this is an international destination in the truest sense of the word. It depends on who you ask, but most of the estimates that we have are between 75 and 80% of the visitors on this side, which is the Canadian side, are from other countries. That is an amazing statistic, and that adds up to about 5 to 7 million international visitors in this tiny town every year, and they do handle it very well. I think another surprise for me, so that's one surprise. The other surprise is the beauty of the American side. You know, the American side, I think, gets a really bad rap because they say, hey, the best views on the Canadian side, and it is a wonderful view here, no question. But the Niagara Park system on the New York side takes you right up to the water, and there are some great things that you can do there. The hurricane deck, you can walk down close to the water, Maid of the Mist and so forth. All those are on the American side. So I think to answer your question, the big surprise for me is, as far as that's regarded, is there is just as much to see and do, perhaps in a more tranquil setting, on the American side as there is in the Canadian side. But if you are going to Niagara Falls, by all means, go to both. Okay, Megan, what's the next question?
If you had to choose one thing, what would be the one thing to say to do?
If there was one thing that I had to say to do, oh, Maid of the Mist, because that is a lifetime experience, and you'll see the boat right out there. It is on its way towards the Horseshoe Falls. And here's why I like it. Okay, I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, I get all that, but I have been married a long time, so I got something going for me, and I've got a little granddaughter, but I know I'm a nerd and a geek. There are 2 to 3 microclimates that you drive through or pilot through on that boat, and that, in essence, is an amazing thing. But if you're not into that, if you just want to experience going underneath that waterfall and the mist and the roar and the power, I think that's probably the best thing, and I would urge everybody. Okay, Megan, what's the next one?
What would you suggest away from the water?
Okay, I'm going to ask Megan that question. Megan, what would you suggest away from the water?
I think the Carousel Museum for sure.
I think the Carousel Museum is a great idea, and that's in a town called North Tawahandi, which is very close to Niagara Falls. I'd probably also suggest that you take the cable car. In fact, we're going to take you on that. It's called the Whirlpool Aero Car, and it is way above a gorge, about 170 feet above the gorge. In fact, we're going to take you there. You're going to be on it. You're going to go over this death-defying Class 6 rapids. We have so many great stories for you. Thank you for your shout-outs, and what we'll try to do is answer some of your questions that you have down there. Again, to wrap up, we're coming to you live from South Ontario, Niagara Falls. Our series starts beginning October 30th through that whole next week of November, and we can't wait. Chuck's Big Adventure at Niagara Falls. Thanks for joining us. If you joined in the middle, you can watch it back, and I'll see you bright and early Monday morning on 13.